Hi, jewells68 here for Talk to Me Tuesday on Tuesday, January 14th. This is my 63rd Talk to Me Tuesday. And wow, I've had a lot going on. So what did I talk about last week? I talked about the glorious scrap eater being done and needing to weave in the ends. I still need to weave in the ends. I've sort of abandoned that for a while, but I'll probably attack it when I watch this past Sunday's episode of Downton Abbey. So, but I didn't show it. So here's that. So here's the finished blanket, which ended up almost as tall as I am. I'd say it's about 5 feet. So there's that. And actually I've gotten quite a few ends woven in, so I can probably finish that, like I said, during an episode of Downton Abbey, and have that ready to turn in. What was I going to say? Oh, at the February meeting. So I think that's great. Next, I remember I talked last week about the sack of granny squares that I brought home, and I made them into a baby-sized blanket. I don't think I showed that last week, and then I donated it this weekend, and I forgot to take a picture. But I did show the big bag of granny squares. Well, here's that bag again. Oh, God! Now you might be saying to yourself, I swear that it was half that full when you showed it last week. And you would be right. Apparently, they're like tribbles, and they can just multiply without, you know, doing anything except maybe eating. I don't know. I don't know what they've been eating, but I wish they'd stop. Anyway, okay, the reality is the lady who had taken the other half of the granny squares home to take to one of the senior centers, I think, to drop off, never made it and didn't take it, so she brought them back. And so she said, do you want to just take these? And that way you can have all the rest of the colors, and maybe you can get more, you know, coordinated blankets or whatever, because some of these I only had like one square of one color, and the other, you know, they weren't organized when she split them up. They were just like dumped in 2 big boxes. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll take them home. So during this past Saturday's meeting, I started another one with some of the granny squares that I had already washed and had in a sack with me. The ones I brought home, I went ahead and washed. And so here is, this is the front. So here's the one I did this weekend. This is using, I did 5 blocks, 5 block rows, and 7, I'm sorry, yes, 5 blocks per row and 7 rows. So here's that one, and I just, I used the granny stitch join, and I'll put a link to that down in my post. But it's a great tutorial that my sister had sent me the link to, and I really like it a lot, because basically it looks like it's all done as one big granny square, when in reality it's a bunch of these tiny granny squares because of the way you do the join. So I'll put that link in there, but it's super fast, obviously. I did this weekend, started it in the meeting Saturday, and by Saturday evening, I already had all of my rows. By the end of the Pats game, I already had all of my rows crocheted together, and had already started on the border. So, or on Sunday I started on the border. So there's that, and I'll definitely have that to turn in at the next meeting. Now, in addition to those granny squares, someone else, I don't think it was the same person, had donated some partially done crochet stuff. I don't know where it came from. Nobody was really sure where it came from. They might have dropped it at one of the drop points. I washed that also, and I'm not really sure what the heck I'm going to do with it. But there were, you know, these 3 random orange squares, which I could obviously make into bigger squares, or use as the starting square of a granny square blanket. So we'll see. I don't know. There's this. It looked like somebody maybe was taking a class, because there was a couple of squares that look like Afghan squares, where they're doing different stitches. And then this one, which clearly was just someone maybe learning how to double crochet, it looks like. And then there was two, there was also this. There were two of these, I think one in black and then one in this orange, which are just the center part of a granny square. I don't know where the other one went. I must have dropped it when I was getting all this stuff out. So, here it is. There was one black and one orange. And then, amongst all of that, was the beginnings of a ripple throw. So, I'm not really sure what pattern they're using. I'm going to have to try to deconstruct, I guess, what they're doing so that maybe I can pick up where they left off. The other option is, of course, to rip it out and just use the yarn for something else. But it's sort of a challenge to kind of figure out what that pattern is. Maybe I can find it. Anyway, if anybody knows off the top of their head, it looks like we got a nice big space there. I'm not really sure. It's some sort of ripple, so I don't know. But it looks like it's textural, so it looks like they're going through the back loop only in some of this. Anyway, so there's that. So I ended up coming home with more than I left once again to the Project Line this meeting. But that's okay, because the best thing about these granny squares is, especially now that I've washed them and now having this granny join that I'm using on them, is they're whipping together really fast. So if nothing else, I can probably get my first 3 or 4 months, maybe more, worth of blankets for this year from that bag of granny squares. I mean, that's a lot of time saved. So that's going to help me a lot, because the first few months of this year I think are going to be pretty crazy. We're still in the process of emptying out my mom's house so we can put it on the market, and we're going to be doing a big focus on that the last week of this month. My brother's coming out and we're going to work on that. So we got that going on. I have Greg's Get Well quilt I'm working on. Greg's Get Well quilt. I have a friend and coworker diagnosed with brain cancer. He leaves tomorrow to a special hospital that's doing research in brain tumors, where he's going to have some treatment prescribed that they're going to then give him here. So while that's in progress, I got all of the autograph blocks prepped. I've got the sashing on. I've got freezer paper on the back. They're ready to go. And I have put a quadrant with my Sew Line ceramic pencil, which washes right out. I've divided each autograph area into 4 sections so that 4 people can autograph or can write a message on each block. We have 45-ish employees at any given time, so that leaves room for up to 48, so we're good. Not sure what I'll put in the other sections. I'll worry about that when I have all of the signatures. I'm having trouble getting people into the office upstairs to sign the darn things. So I have a feeling that today and tomorrow I'll probably have to pop into different areas and see if I can get people, just say, hey, sign this now. Otherwise, I'm never going to get all 45 signatures by the end of the week at the rate I'm going. I think I got 5 people to sign it yesterday. So hopefully I can get maybe, twice that today, and that'll speed things up. The other thing I talked about before, or when it was cutting me off, was paper piecing vintage. I have my 12-inch square done. That is here in this bag with all of my fabrics. And waiting for February. That's done. And then the 6-inch version was, I had just barely started it when I got the idea for this Get Well quilt for Greg. So all I have for that is this one lonely little section here. So I'll hold that right there. That might be better. Again, the 6-inch is going to be a wall hanging in memory of my mom, and I'm using fabrics that I found in her stash when I was going through her sewing area. So 6-inch on hiatus until I can get to hopefully get done with Greg's quilt. So this may not get done until February, and that's okay. I will see you guys next week. I hope everyone has a great week, a crafty week, and I will talk to you later. Bye!